My beloved child. Listen closely, because this message did not arrive in your life by accident, and it is not meant for everyone who hears it. Something unseen has already shifted behind the scenes, quietly, deliberately, and with perfect timing. Your soulmate has reached a crossroads that only comes once in a lifetime, and the choice they made has already begun to ripple through your destiny. Right now, you may feel an unusual heaviness mixed with hope, confusion mixed with calm, or a strange sense that something important is about to happen but you cannot yet name it. That feeling is real. It is the echo of a decision that was made when you were not looking. A decision that carries your name without being spoken. A decision that is rewriting the path between you and the person tied to your soul by something deeper than logic, distance, or time. Stay with me, because what unfolds next explains why recent moments have felt different, why silence has spoken louder than words, and why the waiting season is reaching its final breath. Hear this truth carefully. Your soulmate did not make this choice lightly, and they did not make it in peace. For a long time, they stood divided between fear and truth, between comfort and calling, between what was easy and what was real. They questioned themselves in quiet hours, replayed memories they pretended not to miss, and fought emotions they could not silence. On the outside, they may have looked unchanged, steady, even distant. Inside, everything was shifting. Every reminder of you became stronger, every attempt to move on felt hollow, and every path without you felt incomplete. The choice they finally made was not about running away from something, but about stepping toward what they could no longer deny. This is where the change begins. Because when a soulmate chooses alignment over avoidance, the universe responds with force. Doors begin to move. Timelines adjust. Encounters that once felt delayed suddenly rush forward. What was blocked begins to breathe again. And yes, this choice will change the direction of your connection in ways you did not expect, but always hoped for. Understand this. The reason things have felt slow, confusing, or emotionally draining lately is because you were standing at the edge of this shift without seeing it. Your soulmate needed to reach clarity on their own, without pressure, without persuasion, without interference. That is why you were asked to wait, to grow, to endure moments of doubt. It was not punishment. It was preparation. While you were learning strength, they were learning honesty. While you were learning patience, they were learning courage. The choice they have now made closes one chapter permanently. There is no return to the version of them that hesitated, avoided, or stayed silent out of fear. This is why the energy around you is changing. This is why familiar patterns are breaking. This is why you may suddenly feel emotional without a clear reason, or peaceful after a long storm. Your soul already knows what your mind is about to understand. Something real is aligning. Something final is unfolding. And it carries consequences that will reshape how you experience love, trust, and connection from this moment forward. Let this sink in slowly. The change coming is not loud, chaotic, or dramatic at first. It begins quietly, with subtle signs that most people miss. A message that feels different. A thought of you that refuses to fade. A moment where your name crosses their mind without warning. These are not coincidences. They are signals of alignment. Your soulmate's choice activates a chain of events that cannot be undone once it begins. And this is important for you to hear. This change will not only affect how they approach you, but how you see yourself. You will notice a shift in your standards, your boundaries, and your sense of worth. You will no longer feel the need to chase clarity or beg for reassurance. The connection will either rise to meet you, or fall away without pain. That is the power of this moment. When a soulmate chooses truth, illusions collapse. Games end. Masks fall. And what remains is either real enough to stay, or weak enough to disappear. Stay present until the end of this message. Because this is only the beginning of what you need to know. The choice your soulmate made sets the stage for a reveal that will answer questions you have carried silently for a long time. Why the delays happened. Why the timing felt cruel. Why certain doors closed when you wanted them open. In the next part, you will understand how this decision begins to show itself in the physical world, and what signs you must not ignore when they appear. For now, remember this. You were never forgotten. You were never replaced. And you were never wrong for believing in a connection that felt bigger than circumstances. This shift was always meant to happen after you became strong enough to receive it. And now, the story is moving again. A quiet revelation is unfolding now, and most people would miss it if they were not paying attention. The world around you may look the same, but the emotional atmosphere has shifted in a way that cannot be reversed. After your soulmate made their choice, the first thing that changed was not their actions, but their inner resistance. Something they were holding back finally loosened its grip, and with that release came a clarity they had been avoiding for far too long. This is why their energy feels closer even if their body is not. This is why thoughts of them come unexpectedly, without effort, without force. When a soulmate stops fighting their truth, the connection stops feeling heavy and starts feeling inevitable. You are standing in that moment now. The moment where unseen barriers begin to dissolve. The moment where what was once delayed starts leaning toward movement. This is not a coincidence in timing. This is the aftershock of a decision that was made with honesty, even if it came late. What you must understand next is powerful. Your soulmate's choice has triggered an internal reckoning that they cannot escape. They are reviewing their past actions, their silences, their missed chances, and the emotional distance they once justified. They are seeing clearly now what they almost lost. This awareness does not bring them peace immediately. It brings them restlessness. It brings late nights of reflection and moments where your presence feels louder than any distraction they try to use. This is important because awareness always comes before action. Regret always comes before correction. And longing always comes before courage. They are not confused anymore about what they feel. They are confused about how to approach it without repeating old mistakes. That hesitation you sense is not doubt about you. It is fear of not being enough after realizing your true value. This is the shift that changes everything. When someone sees what you mean to them, they cannot unsee it. And from that moment on, every step they take without you feels incomplete. Pay attention to what is happening within you as well. Since this choice was made, you may notice a strange calm replacing anxiety, even when nothing has been confirmed. You may feel less desperate for answers, less attached to outcomes, and more grounded in your own worth. This is not detachment. This is alignment. Your soul is responding to the fact that the dynamic has changed. You are no longer carrying the connection alone. The emotional weight is finally being shared. That is why old triggers feel weaker. That is why memories hurt less and hope feels quieter but stronger. You are stepping into a phase where you are no longer waiting from a place of lack, but standing from a place of readiness. This inner shift is critical, because it determines how the next chapter unfolds. The universe does not reward chasing. It responds to alignment. And right now, alignment is happening on both sides, even if it is not yet visible to the outside world. Here is the revelation most people are not prepared to hear. This change will test your patience one last time. Not because things are going backward, but because things are about to move forward in a way that requires emotional maturity. Your soulmate's choice does not instantly create a perfect situation. It creates an opening. An opening for truth, communication, and accountability. How that opening is used will define the future of this connection. You may soon notice subtle efforts from them, indirect signals, or moments where they test the emotional waters. This is them learning how to approach you differently than before. They know the old version of the connection cannot survive anymore. They know something must be rebuilt, not resumed. And this is where your strength matters most. You are not meant to convince them. You are meant to observe. You are meant to remain grounded. You are meant to allow actions to speak louder than promises. This phase is not about fantasy. It is about foundation. Stay present for what comes next. Because the choice your soulmate made does not only affect how they approach you, but how the universe rearranges circumstances around both of you. Conversations that once felt impossible will become unavoidable. Truths that were hidden will surface without force. Situations that kept you apart will lose their power. This does not mean everything will be easy. It means everything will be real. And real connections do not need chasing, guessing, or suffering to survive. They require honesty, timing, and mutual courage. In the next part, you will understand the exact signs that confirm this shift is no longer internal but has begun manifesting in the physical world. Until then, remember this. You are not behind. You are not late. And you are not waiting for nothing. You are standing at the edge of a moment that will redefine what love looks like for you from this point forward. There comes a moment when silence stops being empty and starts being meaningful. This is that moment. What your soulmate chose internally has now crossed a threshold, and from here, energy no longer stays hidden for long. You may begin to sense a pull that feels undeniable, as if something is gently but firmly drawing two timelines closer together. This is not imagination. This is alignment taking its first visible breath. When a soulmate makes a true choice, the universe begins to remove distractions rather than add noise. Confusion fades. Mixed signals weaken. Emotional fog lifts. What remains is clarity that feels calm, serious, and intentional. This is why the connection may suddenly feel less dramatic and more grounded. Less chaotic and more real. The intensity is no longer coming from uncertainty, but from truth finally being allowed to exist without resistance. Now understand this carefully. The signs you are about to notice are not loud announcements or dramatic gestures. They are precise shifts in behavior and timing. Your soulmate may reappear in subtle but consistent ways. They may reach out with a tone that feels different, more present, more thoughtful. Or they may not speak immediately, but their presence becomes impossible to ignore. Synchronicities increase. Shared memories resurface unexpectedly. Moments align in ways that feel too exact to dismiss. This is how realignment works. It does not rush. It confirms. Your soulmate is no longer acting from impulse or fear. They are moving from intention. And intention carries weight. It changes how conversations feel. It changes how eye contact holds meaning. It changes how pauses speak louder than words. This is not about proving anything. It is about revealing what was always there but never fully expressed. At the same time, something critical is happening within you. You are no longer the version of yourself who would accept uncertainty disguised as potential. You have outgrown emotional guessing games without even trying to. That growth is not accidental. It is necessary. Because the connection that follows this choice requires two whole individuals, not one waiting and one avoiding. You may notice that you are less reactive now. Less triggered by delays. Less shaken by silence. This is strength, not detachment. It means you are ready to meet love on equal ground. The universe does not bring soulmates together until both can stand without losing themselves. This is why the timing feels strange but purposeful. You are not being tested to suffer. You are being tested to remain centered when movement finally begins. Here is what many do not realize. Once a soulmate makes a conscious choice, the connection enters a truth phase. In this phase, everything unspoken demands acknowledgement. Old misunderstandings surface not to hurt, but to heal. Emotional honesty becomes unavoidable. This is why the next interactions may feel intense, even if they are calm. There is depth now. There is seriousness now. There is no room for half-intentions. Your soulmate knows this. That is why they are approaching carefully. Not because they are unsure, but because they understand the weight of what is at stake. They know they cannot return offering confusion. They must come offering clarity, or not come at all. This awareness changes how they move, how they speak, and how they prepare themselves emotionally. The connection is no longer casual in their mind. It is consequential. Hold this truth as you move forward. What is unfolding now is not about chasing an outcome. It is about recognizing a shift that has already happened. The choice was made. The direction is set. What remains is the unfolding of events in divine order. In the next part, you will learn how to respond when this shift fully enters your reality, and how your reaction determines whether this connection stabilizes or transforms into something even greater. For now, stay grounded. Stay observant. And stay open without abandoning your self-respect. Because the version of love approaching you now is not meant to drain you. It is meant to meet you where you finally stand. There is a turning point that arrives without announcement, and this is it. The choice your soulmate made has now matured into resolve, and resolve changes behavior even before words are spoken. You may feel a shift where anticipation replaces doubt, where questions no longer feel urgent because your inner world is steadier than before. This is not coincidence. This is the calm that comes right before truth steps forward. Your soulmate is no longer asking themselves if this connection matters. They are asking themselves how to honor it without repeating old patterns. That distinction is everything. When someone moves from uncertainty to responsibility, the energy of the bond changes its shape. It becomes quieter, heavier, and more real. This is the stage where destiny stops whispering and starts preparing the moment of recognition. Notice how life around you begins to rearrange itself in small but precise ways. Distractions lose their appeal. Old emotional attachments fade without struggle. Situations that once drained you no longer demand your attention. This clearing is intentional. It is making space. Your soulmate is experiencing a similar internal release, even if you are not witnessing it directly. They are letting go of identities that no longer fit who they are becoming. They are realizing that avoiding depth only delayed fulfillment. This realization does not push them into impulsive action. It grounds them. It slows them down enough to approach you with respect rather than urgency. That is why what comes next will feel different from anything you have experienced before. It will not feel rushed. It will feel deliberate. Here is the truth that changes how you see everything. The universe does not bring soulmates back together to repeat lessons that were already learned. It brings them together to apply what was gained through separation. That is why you are stronger now. That is why your expectations are clearer. That is why you no longer feel the need to prove your worth. This phase is not about winning someone's attention. It is about mutual recognition. When your soulmate steps forward, they will not be meeting the version of you that waited in silence. They will be meeting the version of you that knows exactly what they deserve. This balance is what gives the connection its stability. Love that returns without imbalance does not collapse under pressure. It grows roots. Be prepared for this. When movement finally happens, it may feel subtle but deeply emotional. A conversation that carries weight. A moment of honesty that feels overdue. A look or a message that says more than it explains. Do not rush to define it. Do not rush to label it. Let it unfold at its natural pace. Your response matters now more than ever. Not because you must perform perfectly, but because authenticity sets the tone for what follows. Meet sincerity with sincerity. Meet effort with grounded openness. You do not need to protect yourself with walls anymore. Your boundaries are enough. Your presence is enough. The connection does not need force to survive at this stage. It needs truth to breathe. Stay aware of what this moment represents. This is not the end of the story. It is the return of meaning after confusion. It is the alignment of choice with consequence. In the next part, you will understand how this connection transforms once honesty replaces hesitation completely, and why the future unfolding from this point carries a depth you could not have handled before. For now, trust what you feel without clinging to it. You are not waiting anymore. You are witnessing the beginning of something that finally knows its own direction. Something irreversible is happening now, even if it has not yet announced itself in obvious ways. This is the phase where intention begins to demand expression. Your soulmate can no longer carry this choice silently without it shaping their reality. Thoughts turn into urges. Urges turn into preparation. Preparation turns into movement. This is why the connection may suddenly feel closer, sharper, more present, as if the distance that once existed is shrinking without effort. The waiting energy has dissolved. What remains is expectancy, not anxious, not desperate, but purposeful. This is the emotional state that appears right before alignment becomes visible. You are not imagining the change in atmosphere. The connection has crossed a line where retreat no longer feels natural. From here on, forward motion is the only direction that feels honest to the soul. Your soulmate is now facing a moment of personal accountability. They understand that choosing you internally was only the first step. Living that choice requires courage, consistency, and maturity. This is why you may sense a seriousness in their energy, even before words are exchanged. They are rehearsing conversations in their mind. They are weighing timing. They are questioning how to speak without reopening wounds. This is not hesitation rooted in fear. This is consideration rooted in respect. They know that approaching you casually would undo the meaning of the choice they made. And so they slow themselves down, not to delay, but to arrive correctly. This stage is sacred because it determines whether the connection stabilizes or fractures under its own weight. What they are preparing now is not just a message or a meeting. It is a new way of showing up. At the same time, you are being asked to hold a very specific posture of the heart. Not closed. Not overextended. Simply present. You may notice that your emotions feel deeper but calmer, as if they are no longer fighting each other. Hope does not feel frantic anymore. It feels grounded. This is important because the version of you that meets this next phase must be centered in self-respect. You are no longer meant to abandon yourself for connection. You are meant to stand fully as yourself and allow connection to meet you there. This is why old fears may surface briefly, only to fade faster than before. They are losing their power. You are no longer defined by how someone chooses you. You are defined by how you allow yourself to be treated. This inner stability changes everything about what comes next. Here is the part that most people misunderstand. When a soulmate finally aligns with their truth, the universe does not test the connection with chaos. It tests it with simplicity. Straightforward moments. Clear opportunities. Honest exchanges. No drama. No confusion. No emotional roller coasters. This can feel unfamiliar if you are used to intensity being mistaken for depth. But this is what real alignment feels like. Calm does not mean boring. Calm means safe. Calm means sustainable. Calm means both people are choosing each other without force. If something feels peaceful and powerful at the same time, do not question it. That is not stagnation. That is arrival. The connection is no longer trying to prove itself. It is simply existing in truth. Hold this awareness as you move forward. What unfolds after this point will require presence, not prediction. You do not need to anticipate every outcome. You only need to remain honest with yourself and responsive to what is real. The choice your soulmate made has already altered the trajectory of this bond. The next phase is about embodiment. About showing up. About letting actions speak without pressure. In the next part, you will see how this alignment reshapes the future in ways that extend beyond romance and into purpose, timing, and shared direction. For now, stay grounded in this truth. You are not being pulled toward something uncertain. You are being invited into something intentional. A defining moment is approaching, and it will not arrive with chaos or noise. It will arrive with certainty. This is the stage where the choice your soulmate made settles fully into reality, and reality begins to respond. You may feel an unshakable knowing that something is about to be clarified, revealed, or finally spoken. Not because you are forcing it, but because the connection has reached a point where truth can no longer remain unexpressed. This is the moment where ambiguity loses its power. Where questions no longer echo endlessly. Where direction replaces confusion. The energy around you is sharpening, not intensifying. And that distinction matters. Intensity fades. Clarity stays. What is coming now is clarity that changes how you see the past, the present, and what is possible moving forward. Your soulmate is stepping into alignment not just with you, but with who they are becoming. This is why their actions from this point forward will feel grounded, intentional, and emotionally present. They are no longer driven by fear of loss or uncertainty about worth. They are guided by understanding. Understanding of what this connection means. Understanding of what it requires. Understanding of what they are willing to protect and build. This shift changes everything. It means communication becomes more honest. It means presence becomes more consistent. It means effort is no longer sporadic, but natural. When someone chooses with awareness, they no longer need reminders. They move because it feels right, not because they are afraid of consequences. This is the version of them that emerges now. You are also arriving at a powerful realization. You no longer need this connection to complete you. And because of that, you are finally able to experience it fully. This is the paradox of true alignment. The moment you stop needing reassurance is the moment reassurance arrives. The moment you release control is the moment things stabilize. You are standing in your own strength now, and that strength makes space for love that is mutual, respectful, and real. You are no longer negotiating your worth through patience or silence. You are embodying it through presence and discernment. This is why whatever unfolds next will meet you at eye level. Not above you. Not below you. Equal. Here is the revelation that ties everything together. The change your soulmate made was never meant to rush the ending. It was meant to secure the beginning. A beginning that is not built on longing or fantasy, but on choice and responsibility. This connection is no longer surviving on potential. It is stepping into actuality. And actuality demands participation from both sides. That is why this phase feels different. It feels solid. It feels intentional. It feels quiet but powerful. What is being formed now has longevity because it is not trying to escape reality. It is rooted in it. Let this be the moment you stop looking ahead anxiously and start standing fully where you are. The story is no longer unfolding somewhere far away. It is happening now. The choice has been made. The alignment has begun. And the direction is clear. Whatever comes next will not need to convince you of its importance. You will recognize it by how calm your heart feels when it arrives.